put it in the title. All right, here we go. Late night happy hour. It's a good one tonight. The gang's all back. Lots to get to. Some legal stuff to get to. A lot of food stuff to hit. And we'll let people file in if you have questions, comments. I will open up right out of the gates, and I want to talk about media suspensions. I think it's important to get this out there. Dan, what's the story with Adrian Dater? The hockey guy in Avalanche land who came on after the Avs dumped out of the series against the Golden Knights and asked a question of Nathan McKinnon and said, at what point, basically it was, just, at what point do you guys just say, fuck it, we're not going to think anymore. We're not going to overthink things. This did not go well for actually your hockey insider, Adrian Dater from The Fan.
Wasn't that an interesting evening? Because I came right on your podcast. So he was on my show. He had a very interesting evening that night. I'm not going to pull any punches. We're just going to talk about this openly because you're bringing it up, Steve. He came on my show right after that presser, and he had a very odd interview on my show. I was filling in on The Fan late night. They bring in. I'm the hockey expert. In fact, I'm the only person on The Fan staff that was on the original staff when The Fan went on the air. We were the original station for the Avs and Nuggets, or the Avalanche, the first year in Denver, and we won the cup that year. I'm the only original staff member, right? I've been off and on there. But anyway, I'm the hockey expert, right? Hockey Dan. And so they bring me in for the playoffs, and I'm doing the post-game coverage. And Dater does that press conference where he asked Bednar if he's going to be fired. And then he asked that, but I didn't know this yet, right? He does the press conference, and then he comes on with me because he's our fan, Avalanche insider. He does a very odd, kind of whiny, panicky, pouty press conference, or post-game interview with me, where he's talking about like getting rid of McKinnon and Landeskog and everybody. And I said, good God, man, snap out of it. And I kind of made the analogy where if this were an old John Wayne movie, I'd smack him around and say, I'd smack him in the face and say, snap out of it and pull yourself together, and I had sent a note to one of my hockey buddies. I said, man, you need to listen to my interview with Dater because it was really kind of weird. Well, he sent me a clip he said, well, you ought to see this. Well, I was on the air, so I couldn't watch it. And then I came right on with you guys, you and Justin. Well, you played it for me and Justin for the first time. And I was like, what the heck? I couldn't believe it. Well, we're watching this unfold. Well, lo and behold, he's tweeting out from a very popular establishment before the game, come on down to my subscribers to my own personal podcast website. I'll put a drink or two on my own tab. I don't know exactly what was going on, but that's not a very good look when you're, tweeting that, from the establishment, hey, come on down and I'll buy you drinks. And then you're going to a press conference. The way you delivered that word salad was the most popular phrase. And the way he kind of, F it, it didn't look good. And the way he was fervently defending himself all night long. And then midday the next day kind of had that kind of defeated resignation. I shouldn't have done that, right? Kind of that morning after, so to speak. We've all been there, that morning after. Oh, man, what did I do? And then, nope, should have done it. There's no defending it, this, that, and the other. It was a bad night for Adrian Dater. That was the last. I was like, the Avs have to pull his credential. He can't, because McKinnon looked genuinely pissed, right? And PR guys can defend people all they want, but generally once players get involved, it's a situation where the PR guys kind of have their hands tied and they got to do something now. I hadn't heard any more fallout. I was interested to see if our station was going to do anything, and I had heard it was nothing. But has something happened that I wasn't aware of?
Adam, did you hear anything on Dater?
Here, I'm here. No, I didn't hear anything. Any follow up, anything like that?
I think he wrote it out.
I heard he got a
reason...
I heard he got a 1 year suspension from the PHWA.
Okay.
So that's not good.
Well, but here's the deal. I mean, he doesn't work for anybody, right? And he's gone to kind of his own little fan-driven. People pay him to just run his own website. It's a subscription-based thing. He doesn't need credentials anymore. He's just sitting on his couch writing if he wants to. He has a kind of what he calls a tip jar. It's essentially a GoFundMe if he ever wants to travel anywhere. It's nice that he has a credential. It makes him feel good that he can say, hey, I'm a credentialed member of the media. But does he really need it? I mean, he's just watching games on TV, and he can just write. So really, I mean, he's at this point, and he, I don't know if I consider him a friend or not. He's a colleague. I've known him for 20 some years. So I don't want to kill the guy, but at this point, he's kind of pretending anyway. I don't know how much real money he's making at this. He's kind of had a fall from grace. He's trying to be a redemption story, but he certainly has a reputation as a legitimate guy. But is he making money doing this? Maybe a little, but does he need a credential? Does it matter that he's suspended? He's going to write for his website. He has fans that are going to follow him on Twitter. And whoever subscribed to his website probably is still going to be subscribed to his website. So I don't know. How much does it matter?
In this case, it might even.
And by the way, I have no confirmation on a suspension. It's just something I heard. So I guess. Brady says he's still on the PHWA site. Producer Brady follows up by saying actually he comes up on the search, but he's not listed on the Colorado State chapter. He says they did remove him. So who knows? Go ahead, Adam. Sorry.
Can Dater sue Cofield for defamation?
Good question.
That's normally the question Cofield would ask.
That is a good question. If I preface by saying I heard.
Yeah.
Is that as good as allegedly?
I don't know.
Did you actually hear it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then you're fine.
Do I have to reveal my source?
You might
never have to reveal your source.
I will not.
It could hold you in contempt if it came to a case, right?
What did you just say? Wait, who can hold him in contempt?
Couldn't if this actually went to a trial, and he was getting sued for it, couldn't he be held in contempt at some point if he was like, I'm not going to reveal anything?
Yeah.
It's good. No, I would say, like, again, we're making a lot of assumptions in the story, but if I know. Thanks, Brady. The microphone's gone, so there's nothing I can do right now. If we're, if we're taking one lesson from this, it's also why people that are in the press box don't actually drink during the game. And again, it's an assumption, but
now who's in trouble? You said people, though.
Yeah, I said people. I didn't say he was.
Of course, Dan did talk about a story at a bar, so I think we're all in trouble now.
No, I said people in general, and media people don't drink during games, and I think people often look at it like, oh, you get to go to all these games, that's awesome, and like it's cool to be there, but like you are working, and again, this is not a case. I think what Dan was talking about in the potential circumstances here is like he wasn't even at the game covering it. It was more doing the broadcast, watching the broadcast from a bar and then trying to write on it later. But yeah, when you're covering games, like you're there to watch the game and to focus on the game and to like kind of be, all encompassing in what is going on. And you don't have time to doing other things like, drinking and imbibing and talking to people around you, that sort of thing. Like you're there to focus. I just know we've had, people at the RJ that are like, oh, I want to get credentialed to the game. And they ended up getting credentials and they go there and they're like, why are you guys so serious? Like, you're at a game. This is fun. Like, it's not. No, it's not. You're to work. Like, you need to know what set up this goal or what set up this penalty or why this team was in a lull at this point. Like, you're not there to have fun and goof around. that's a completely different topic than what you're talking about. But I just, the potential for, imbibing during a game sort of thing. And that could, to mix when you're working and covering a game and actually watching it for fun and pleasure are totally different.
Do you guys want to answer this one? Because everyone's probably got a different answer to Brady's question. But go ahead, Dan, if you were going to follow up on what Adam was saying.
Well, no, to answer Brady's question, certain they're getting less and less, but certain press boxes will make alcoholic beverages available to media after games. And there is, for writers in particular that have to write and work in the press box after games, yes, alcohol is available after games. Generally, I mean, I've never known press to sit around and drink during games. Now, you certainly can go find alcohol, and there's alcohol available in arenas during games if you want to find it. But no, it typically, and I don't hang out in press boxes a lot anymore. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm not exactly beloved by the PR people. This is my third or fourth tour around, and now that I'm strictly only on air, I'm not. I used to be in charge of the relationships for the station.
Oh boy, you made your bed.
Well, no. I mean, no. Before, everybody used to love me, but now that I'm just straight no chaser, I'm not exactly the most beloved guy in town. But I don't like going to games. I like to sit at home where I can analyze, I can rewind, I can see what's going on, and I like to be able to get a better context. I like to be able to hear the announcers. I don't like fighting traffic. So I don't really like going to games all that much. I don't like being around people. I'm like Cofield, I'm not a kid guy, I'm not a human guy, but so I don't know how much of that, but it used to be common that, people that could handle it. Yeah, they would have beers, afterwards. We used to, I was telling the story before, on the show before. It was funny. We would hang out with Cronky. Cronky wouldn't even pick up drinks for his own broadcasters. His guys that were making no money in his own restaurant. He wouldn't pick up $18 worth of drinks for his guys that he was not paying any money on his own tab. They'd be picking up his own, their own drinks. Like, dang, that guy worth $15 billion with him and his wife, and he drives a hard bargain.
As you said, the only time I've ever seen it would be like, writers, like after an NFL game, like a 1 o'clock NFL game, we're still there 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And at that point, I've seen, some coolers kind of busted out and like, hey, you guys have been here for 16 hours at this point. You want to pop open a beer kind of thing. I've seen that. But in general, no, it's weird in the VGK press box. It's a different animal. First of all, we can't leave the press box now. I don't know how many people, it doesn't matter, but you can't, as you said, you could go down to a concession stand. You can't now. You're supposed to not mingle with the folks.
That was weird.
There's a nightclub though. So you could hit over the nightclub and jump in there.
Well, that was weird. Yeah. So I was in Vegas a couple of weeks ago for the Avalanche night series, and they literally escorted you. So you're like, you are not allowed to leave this designated area. And JT was saying like, yeah, that's because there's a little nightclub behind this curtain, and you are not allowed into the nightclub. You lowly media scum are not allowed to commingle with the high rollers in the nightclub.
Not to dispute the great JT, but you can go to the nightclub. You can't go because where the press box is in Vegas, that row right behind our press box is coaches, scouts, players that are scratched, that sort of thing. So what you can't do is go behind because those people are in tier 1 and are tested every day. So where you're
is that what it was? Okay.
Where you're sitting, there's literally like a bathroom right behind you, but you're not allowed to use that one because that's the one where the tested, bubble is. So like there's literally a bathroom like 7 feet from you, and you have to go to the one that's, all the way over in the nightclub. So the bathroom that we use is in the nightclub. But yeah, that's the issue there is that you're you're segregated from the people that are in the testing pool.
I was mistaken then.
Yeah.
I will
go party away.
I will answer Brady's question by saying, yes, the worst offenders, maybe not so much now, but certainly in the past, and Adam should know this, were at the fights.
Oh yeah.
Specifically
Absolutely.
boxing. UFC cracked down on it pretty early, although there'd be UFC media sitting in the media section with beers and mixed drinks that they bought from servers and bars. But UFC was pretty militant early on with their PR people. But boxing, problem with boxing in the old days, I mean, it's a good thing a lot of media got in, but they would have literally like 18 rows of media with like 40 people across for a big fight. And there'd be, I would say, at least a dozen boxing media people. Because a lot of people, a lot of them came as part of packages to work Radio Row. And so they really didn't need to, they weren't doing updates. They weren't writing on deadline. So yeah, you'd see them sitting there with a couple of beers.
No, they put me one time. I came to cover a guy named Mike Alvarado, who was a Denver fighter who was low level. So he was way on the undercard. And so I was there way early in the arena and just to watch him. And they didn't really have a seat for me. So they said, well, go sit in this area. And it was a VIP area where everything was comped. And I wasn't really working. I was just there to hang out and say hi to this guy or whatever. And man, I'll have a cocktail. And before you know it, yeah, it was not professional. And it was just there again. The waitress was like, yeah, honey, everything's free. Just take care of me. And I started hanging out with these guys that worked on like a Deadliest Catch type boat. Before you know it, it was like knee deep in a party. And I was like, it was a Pacquiao fight or whatever. And it was Derby weekend. It was a big old party. And then I didn't have a seat for the main fight or whatever. And then I poured out of there, and I wasn't even there for the main fight. I was just there to watch Alvarado. Before you know it, yeah, I was partied out and out of there, but it was crazy. Yeah, the boxing matches were nuts back in the day.
Boxing press boxes are complete chaos. I won't even. I mean, every once in a while I get assigned to cover one. I refuse. I cover everything. I don't cover boxing. It's a disaster for a lot of reasons. But UFC, you're right, in the early days of UFC in particular, it was a shit show. It was like boxing. And then what they decided to do with their PR department is get people, like if you look through the PR department right now, it's somebody from the NFL, somebody from the NBA, somebody from Major League Baseball. Like it's like legit sports PR people now. A lot of them, a couple of them are kind of holdovers and one's from the entertainment world, but
right.
It's a lot of like hardcore, came from a sports background where now it's a lot more professional in that way.
Right. And you wouldn't have media members coming in and like asking Dana White about how he's protecting the First Amendment. I mean, they've really cracked down on stuff about weight.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, every once in a while, a doozy slips through. So, which I would like to get the mic in the room and go, you know what, fella, Dana's not going to fuck you. So,
well, it goes back to.
Sorry, that's a line that people use all the time with white knights. So I had to use it with the Dana lovers. Everyone, calm down. You're not getting in any better with Dana. He's not a moron because you're asking him some kiss-ass question.
It goes back, like, we've talked, I know, about my issue with Dana from last month a lot of times, but when that was going on and people were like going after me and like, Dana, I'll take care of this motherfucker if you want me to. And I was just like, by the way, I'll probably be like, on the phone with Dana in the next couple of hours. You will never meet him. He doesn't care about you. He'll never know you. You're irrelevant. So, like, stop pretending like you're going to be his friend now by, like, going after me. Like, I'll be here at the end of this and you won't. Which,
by the way, Dan, did you hear
that stuff that drives me nuts?
Did you hear where the threats got to, the level they reached with Adam, where people were emailing pictures to Adam of his house?
No, I did not hear that, although I am shocked that he had an issue with Dana White. That's surprising to me, because I know they've always had such a cordial, loving relationship. And you as well, Steve. I know Steve. You back in the day always had a great relationship with Mr. White as well. So, like this. But that is scary that they would do that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, there's a lot of crazy people out there. Adam, should I play the question, the First Amendment?
I mean, yeah.
Why not? Dan, from a legal standpoint, we'll see if you. I think you'll have a good take on this one. Let me punch it up here. Let's go, old Gussie. It's coming up.
Old Gussie.
Oh, I promise.
An environment of free expression that isn't happening in other sports. People can say what they believe. We got everything you can imagine when we see these fights from people all over the world. You seem to be saving the First Amendment here in the United States. I mean, is it too much to say the UFC is leading the way on restoring the Constitution here in our own country?
Holy fuck.
Is that Grease Barra guy?
I was trying to figure out what the voice was.
I don't know. Let me try one more time.
An environment of free expression that isn't happening in other sports. People can say what they believe. We got everything you can imagine when we see these fights from people all over the world. You seem to be saving the First Amendment here in the United States. I mean, is it too much to say the UFC is leading the way on restoring the Constitution here in our own country?
It's what I love about the sport. You know what I mean? This is the fight game. You know, we live in a world right now. Let me just put it this way. Everybody's very sensitive these days about everything. This is a sport where we say mean things to each other sometimes, and then we go in and we beat the shit out of each other to see who's going to win. So through all the craziness that's happened over the last year and a half.
Dana, how do you lead the way in not being sensitive?
Yeah, when's that big Oscar De La Hoya fight coming? By the way,
I'm kind of excited for it, and I think Dana's missing the boat on this. These are the real origins of the sport. Let's get back to doing it. Come on, Oscar De La Hoya and Vitor Belfort. That's a dream fight.
No, I'm talking about Dana, and yeah, he's talking about we say mean things about each other, and then we beat the snot out of each other.
Okay.
I'm waiting for him and Oscar to fight.
I missed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean but I mean I don't care about that. I was just shaking my head when he's talking about saving the Constitution. Does this clown know what the Constitution is? Does he know what the First Amendment is? Does he know what the Constitution protects against, what the First Amendment protects against? Yeah. Which, oh my goodness. I just have to shake my head. I mean, it has nothing to do with Dana White. Dana White is not a protector of the First Amendment. But I guess I have to ask, what does this have to do with Adam? Did Adam pipe up?
I mean, me and him got into, like, he attacked me on social media last month, and it just became a whole thing. But we've done it. I don't want to bore the listeners with it again. He basically didn't like a lead that I wrote and put it on blast, and then opened the door for death threats and all kinds of craziness that ensued.
It's almost as if he was sensitive.
Yeah, a little oversensitive.
Almost, yeah. Was the neighbor's RV in the shot of the?
No, it's like old Google Maps images.
Oh.
So it wasn't like they came to my house and took a photo. They just like found my house on Zillow or whatever, and then
I'm not. You know what?
Image.
I certainly don't want to motivate anyone to go after Adam, but I will say when someone does that, they're not coming after you. So I can remember getting I got a letter at a house one time from someone obviously who I must have gotten into a beef with on the roads, and it was like, yeah, I know where you live, and I just looked at it, and I'm like, get out of here. Like you'd be at my door if you fucking think so. Shut up.
Right. Yeah. Tough guy.
When I was having conversations,
and also you're one of like 500 people this year who could have sent it. So who cares?
I was having conversations with people, and they were like wondering about if I needed security and that sort of thing, and I was just like, no, if they're going to do this, they're not actually going to show up.
Right.
They would show up and do something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was not bragging. I mean, if it I hopefully no one does anything. There's crazies out there. So
yeah,
yes,
it's good. But I will say that the prevailing or like the lasting thing is like people have remembered that he said that I won't be at the fights. The Conor McGregor fight. That was what he said in the Instagram post. And so,
he kind of said indirectly, they clipped your lead and your name, your story, your name and your lead, and he said the paper won't be there. So then people jumped to the conclusion. Like you said, I don't even know. Did he definitely knew you wrote the story when he originally posted it?
Great point. I mean, he posted a picture with my byline on it. But he was like, just so people know, he was attacking the paper. He's mad at the paper, not me. And then he was mad that the story was in the paper, and he tried to use the story to attack the paper. And then when all the hate went on me, he felt bad. And then we played the press conference where he was like, this is not about Adam. We like Adam, whatever he said. This is about the Review Journal and fuck the editors there and all that stuff. So that was the whole thing that played out. But I every time I'm at an event and I'll like start tweeting from the event, I get all these people like, how'd you get in there? Does Dana know you're there? I'm like, okay. He came by and said hi. So yeah, I think he knows I'm here. He's fucking idiots.
Adam will be at the next Conor McGregor fight. We'll be lucky if Conor McGregor shows up to the next Conor McGregor fight.
Well, it's less than a month away now. T-Mobile Arena, same night as Garth Brooks at Allegiant. It's going to be a crazy night. I'll be at the UFC fights this Saturday, so if people want to follow along and see what's going on from the fights, hit me up on Twitter. I'll be there. I'm back.
How was Mexico?
Great. Probably could have. I mean, Americans are assholes. We know that. Oh boy, look at this.
Polly.
Yeah. Americans are assholes. We know that. Apparently, Americans and their inability to follow rules have caused a real problem with COVID numbers in Cancun. So everything has to shut down at 11 now.
Yeah, how about this? Dan, have you been to Mexico? Have you been to all inclusive?
Yeah, well, I think we were talking about that when we were running around. Not a fan of the old.
Maybe
Justin and I were talking about it. I think when we were playing golf. I'm not a big fan of the old Mexico.
Yeah, Adam's saying you can't get drinks late night anymore. They're trying to curb the recklessness.
Well, I stayed at an all inclusive, but like I learned my lesson because you can go stay in an all inclusive for like the same price as like any other hotel down there. It's like the same price. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I stay at a all inclusive? But it's not. The food is not really, it's just kind of like off. So you're like, oh, it's a Brazilian steakhouse. I'll go eat there. And then the meat doesn't really, there's something that's not right about any of the food.
Well, I had some friends that it was their first time there, and they were like, why, the food is not good. It's all this. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're staying here. You can get the food if you want. If the drinks are going to be watered down, the food's not going to be good. They're cooking for 7,000 people or whatever, how many people are there. So yeah, you're not going there for that. But as you said, it's not that much more than going to a regular hotel. It's probably about the same. So you get the resort aspect of it. You get, you can hang out at the bar, and even though the drinks aren't great, drink them all day, and then go to dinner at night. Like you don't have to stay on the resort. Even I think people feel pressure to because they paid for it.
Yeah.
But like I know, like I have 5 or 6 just unbelievable restaurants down there that I go to. I'm like, oh, we can go here. We can go to this spot. It's ridiculously good, and it's not that crazy expensive. So I like that.
Adam, do you agree? Every all-inclusive place you stayed at had bad food?
No, if you stay in like really, really high-end ones, they're good.
Right. Yeah. I never felt safe there. It was hot. It was humid. I didn't dig the beaches. The place we stayed at, you couldn't really go jump in the ocean. It was just the guys I was there with loved it. They're like, it's a cheap flight. We're going to do this every year for the rest of our lives. And I was just like, I just didn't dig it. Mexico
I didn't realize everyone pissed and moaned about all inclusive. The times I've gone, I thought they were good. The food was good. I didn't think the drinks were watered down. So I don't know.
The drinks were fine. Yeah, the drinks were fine. I didn't have any problem with the drinks.
I know, like the one that I was at that you were at, Steve, is insanely high end. Oh,
I didn't know that.
No, insanely.
Well, then we got a good deal because I wouldn't have paid for insanely high end.
I know. I was saying this doesn't sound right. Cofield was that high end.
When we go, I don't plan these trips, so I trust the SO. And both times we went, the food was really good. I thought it was good, and the drinks were great.
Did you go to the same one?
We did go to the same one twice.
Okay, yeah. I mean that place, I don't think you can't really judge,
right?
Based on that place,
And I figured really in Cancun, I'm not if we go anytime soon or whatever is Playa, Like, I'm not going to a shithole.
Right. And we did. We just did for sure. Because we went to the one that's we had a choice between, best food and drinks or best party spot. And we went best party spot for sure. Like, there was no question that's where we were going. So so that's where we ended up. Yeah. But yeah, everything has to close at 11, including bars, restaurants, nightclubs, everything closes at 11. So usually the nightclubs, most of them we go to open at like 10 or 10:30. Usually, and stay up until 6, and now they're 7 to 11. That's their hours. Yeah,
that sucks. You guys rave about Cancun and the clubs there, and now aren't they all you can drink too? Like
clubs,
you pay
yeah.
Well, how do you all you can drink from 7 to 11?
Well, they're modifying it now. They're
Sucks.
they're changing it up. But I mean, this has only been in place for about 2 weeks now, so they're everybody's trying to figure it out. It's supposed to hopefully change soon, but if Americans keep being Americans and being jerks. Like they closed Chichen Itza, like the it's a tourist attraction. It's a ancient Aztec fort, whatever it was. I don't know. I'm not good at that stuff. But they closed it. That's where everybody goes. It's the ruin. It's the Mayan ruin. Sorry, that's what it is. But they closed it because Americans were like, I'm not wearing a mask here. Like, okay, then fuck you. Then we're closing. Like, what do you? Like, you do it or you don't. Like, and by the way, like we talk about vaccinations here, which are slowing down and everything. Like, they can't get them, and they're going to work and serving you, risking their health and with a terrible healthcare system. So fuck you if you're not gonna follow rules and regulations down there. Like, how could you be such assholes? But that's what we are. I'm also annoyed because of how many people I saw not tipping. And that bothers me. So I'm just annoyed at tourists in general right now.
The American pigs on the road, ruining it for those of us who have a little respect for people who are serving us nicely.
Yeah.
Do we want to address what I punched up or not?
Oh,
Developing
I'd love to hear about this.
Well, it just came down tonight. So yeah, VSiN tweeted out that our old buddy Dan knows Paulie from way back at Sports Fan Radio Network.
I hired him in Denver.
Oh my God!
How long did he stay?
You want to tell that story?
I'm struggling to remember, but we got him. We hired him to run our morning show board because he worked in.
Were you the PD or were you working under Spence?
Well, no, I was not the PD. I was the executive producer. And I worked under Spence, so I was second in command. And we needed somebody to run the morning show board. And so, like, yeah, Paulie, come on out. I brought Andrus out too. And man, I don't even remember. Like, he just got up and left. Like, I don't remember. Like, he was just like, how Paulie is. He's like, nah, can't. I can't even do his voice. But he just got up and left. Like, I don't even know how long he took it. He just got up and went back to Vegas.
If I remember correctly, no, he didn't go back to Vegas. He went back to
Minnesota.
He went back to Minnesota. I think he left my couch to go take the job in Denver. By the way,
is that what it was?
And if I remember correctly, he worked the first 2 shows and left after the second show and just drove back without saying anything.
Yeah. They're like, Jacobs, what the hell, man? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know if I saw him. I don't know if I saw him when he got into town.
I think it was day 2. I think he was out. And listen, there are so many amazing Paul stories, but like the thing you have to know, I think the one that says so much about Paul is that he's his own person for sure. He was living on our couch rent free, Dan, and got furious that we partied too much and called a house meeting. Again, he's homeless, basically, living on our couch, no rent. You guys got to tone it down. This is ridiculous. Always people over and drinking, and this is unacceptable. Like, you're over. What are you talking about? It's insane.
Wait, Chad, was this part of he drove up, took the job, watched the Super Bowl, and then that was it? He was gone a couple days later, or are you talking about another time? Well, that had to be before that, right? That was Patriot Tram. What year was Patriot Trams? Was that 2000?
Oh, that was the same year. That was after. Yeah, that was. Yeah.
You know what? I'd rather talk about the suspension than him leaving Lotus. No.
And later in the show, we'll have to address Mark in Las Vegas question, but I want to talk about this first.
Yeah, Chad said he watched the Super Bowl, but he's gone the next day. I don't know about what him leaving Lotus. Are you just talking about when he left the station? Yeah, that was just that's been out. He's told the story on VSiN. Is this right, Adam? Is Brady referencing the Megabucks hit?
No. I assumed it was.
Was that another time?
Assumed it was another time.
Jesus Christ! Can't even keep up. I know. Yeah. So this popped up tonight a couple hours ago, and I know nothing about the story. I have no connections. I don't know anything. All we know is Paul's been off the air for multiple weeks. So they have their morning show. Him and Mitch Moss and John Von Tobel, who's on VSiN and Cofield and Company, has been filling in a lot. I know our buddy Matt has been filling in a lot. But beyond that, all I knew was Paul was off the air. And then tonight there was a tweet about he's temporarily suspended, and Paul tweeted out, "I accept the suspension."
I would say it's probably a good. It's probably a good thing that they announced the suspension, because I saw people freaking out about like, why'd you finally announce this now? Like, what is this about? How come you're not telling us? I'd say it's probably a good thing, because the alternative probably was that he was fired. So,
right.
If you're going to wait 3 weeks and then announce a suspension, I would say there's probably hope that he's coming back. So, to those people that are freaking out about it, I would say this is good. And I will say, just because people are addressing this and it's annoying me, this has nothing to do with PC or cancel culture. Everybody seems to be tying it into the Kelly situation. Totally different. So stop
Kelly,
cancel.
Kelly who?
Kelly in Vegas, Kelly Stewart, who was
I don't think
dismissed by ESPN.
I don't think Dan knows about that either.
No, just a girl from Vegas who is in the handicapping world, who has worked her way up, and she got hired at ESPN and fired before she got on the air, because of things that she tweeted. And I do have
years ago. Yeah.
She tweeted 9 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I heard about her.
And they're gone, but there's some people that just saved all the tweets, and every time she gets a new job, they send them along to the new place, which that is different than tweeting out something when you have a job. I do think there's a problem with that. But yeah, they found the tweets and she was fired. So this is not like that. This is not cancel culture. This is not, political correctness. Totally different.
How do you know?
I know enough about the situation. I don't know.
What do you know?
I don't know the details enough to like come out with it publicly. I'm just saying it's not that. It's totally different.
What is it?
As my lawyer, Dan, you should not be encouraging me to say.
I don't know. Well, I don't know I don't know how much I know to encourage you or not. Give me a little more information, and we can decide what we're going to say.
My information is that it has nothing to do with anything you said on the air or any political correctness or anything.
Well, what does it have to do with?
There's a never mind.
I couldn't hear you. What did you say? You were trailing off.
I said never mind.
Oh.
I'm still trying to get the intel on who asked the question at the press conference.
I don't think it's this, Brady.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
No.
Mark says this room is protected by audience. No one else will see this.
That is true.
That's fair.
No one at VSiN has ever watched Adam Hill on these videos. Never happened. An arrest. I saw some people alleging that it was a DUI on the thread.
Nope, not an arrest. It's not a. Well, I guess eventually it could be a legal thing, but it's not a legal issue.
Did Paulie try to fight someone?
Usually, yes. I don't think that has anything to do with this.
Is it Cofield? And Cofield is not a someone.
No.
I never fought Paul. I rarely got into it with Paul, so I've always taken the high road with Paul, as Adam can attest to. I like Paul. He's a quirky guy.
Yeah.
He's quirky.
I always loved, I just loved always listening to him talk, just his mannerisms and the way he would just be. I just love being in a room with Paul, just listening to him. It was fun.
And I've had a lot of people that know that I've known Paul for a long time and friends, and they love the show. Their show is unbelievable. I'll just say that. I think Mitch and Paul together are tremendous. But people are like, "Oh, Paul plays such a great character on the radio," and no,
it's not a character.
No, it is him.
Well, the thing was, I'm not mistaken, right? Because the way he speaks and his accent and his character, I'm like, "Oh, you're from New York or Jersey or whatever." He's like, "No, I'm from Minnesota." I was like, "What? What?"
Well, that is why, Dan, we refer to him as New York Paulie.
Right, and he's from Minnesota. I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Minnesota.
I mean, I'm telling you, I've told this story a million times. The cast of characters I ran into as what was I, 20 years old, 21 years old, from Aurora, Colorado, running into you guys from in my time at my 10 months in Vegas. It was just amazing. Tyranny and Cofield and Andrus and Paulie and Adam. You guys. I mean, it was crazy.
Zig,
yeah, Zig, Frank Andrews, Zig Fracassi. I mean, the whole thing was nuts.
It's just quite a collection of folks.
Yeah, there's one guy I was working with. His eyeball kept popping out. I mean, he had like a fake eyeball would pop. You'd be sitting there, his eyeball would pop out.
Was that Jay Sherman?
No, it was because I had two jobs.
Was it dangerous?
Talk America Radio Network was also in the same parking lot.
Oh wow.
I did sports updates for them too. Thanks, Ryan Williams, for paying me enough. So I would do those before I would come in, and yeah.
I mean, I was going to say,
I do love the demands on the thread. Like, we need to know why. You're not gonna find out unless someone does a story on it, which I don't see happening.
If this was me being a journalist right now, I would say full disclosure. I did fill in for Paul one of the days that he's been suspended. So
now it comes out.
Yeah. Full disclosure.
So and you're holding out.
I know enough. I don't know I'm.
You do. You know enough. You know enough to tell us, and you're not telling us.
No, because I think there's a lot of dots that haven't been connected yet with what is going on, and I think
connect them for us. That's what we're here for.
I'm saying I don't know. I know enough that I can kind of piece things together, but I don't know enough.
Well, let's do that together. Let's do it together. Let's piece them together.
Let's not. I don't, because I think it's unfair until you know everything to really.
I'll be the judge of that. Let's do that. That's what I do for a living. I'm a judge.
True.
I'll be the judge of that. We
can do that. We can do that off the air.
If this is a result of DraftKings takeover, VSiN is about to understand what selling out doesn't work when there are so many different content options. People are mad.
Yeah.
People are mad.
Well, it's a very popular show.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
A lot of threats. If he doesn't come back, people are moving on.
Are you going through all the comments? Because I know that there actually are some comments there that no.
Which ones, Adam? Which ones?
I haven't seen them yet. Oh, look at this. It's because I did enjoy reading. There's no show anywhere that's like Paul and Mitch. They did the same exact radio show with less gambling content for like 8 years together on local.
Well, they did have somebody holding them
back. Yeah, in some ways.
Yeah, Chad was also saying Pig, Pharrell, JT. Remember when Pharrell would sit, he would warm up in his garage and just babble to soap operas to get ready for a show. Do you guys remember that?
No.
So he would, he had, remember his producer, Bowman, or Smitty. I guess Smitty, I would come and I'd go, Smitty, what are you doing? And you would hear Pharrell just going, look at her. She's got the lipstick on her. I'm like, what is going on in here? Pharrell's talking about the soap operas. I'm like, why? This is how he's getting ready for the show tonight. I'm like, it's like, you got like 4 hours. What's going on? Like, he would just sit there in his garage talking about soap operas. Like, I mean, we'd have to record it. You know, like that was his deal.
I will say that I listened to Pharrell long before I ever met Pharrell and assumed a lot about him, mostly that he probably was kind of an asshole.
Yep.
Definitely not. He's an awesome
He's like
guy.
one of the nicest guys in all radio.
Yeah. And he's doing like 10 hours a day right now.
Yeah.
Is he?
It's insane. I think it's 8.
Damn.
Cowardly, no matter the circumstances. It's good.
Time to take action. Fight the fight. Boycott all programming, all sponsors. We pay a large fee for the programming. Adam, I haven't seen one comment that sheds any light on this.
Me neither. There was like 3. Oh boy.
The suits at DraftKings are going to ruin VSiN.
Want a refund? There's a lot of this. It's good. It is interesting that there, I would assume that some people know some things. Kind of weird that
I would assume you know, and you're not telling us.
But it seems like a lot of times, like things like this get out very quickly.
Yes.
And in this case, it's kind of weird that it's not happening.
Well, the gambling media, the gambling world.
Don't bring cancel culture to VSiN.
I know. Love Mitch, but to me, he loses credibility here, being quiet and just worried about his gig.
Yeah.
You have no idea what the story is, nor do I, but Mitch is being a pussy by not okay. Have these people worked jobs? These people have not worked in media. I know that because believe me, I've been around radio people who have been suspended, who have been in trouble, and you don't just go on the air and go, "Fuck that, that's bullshit. I got my guys back."
Well,
You'd like to. You'd like to.
Yeah, and I could see it if they weren't, and I guess everybody doesn't know, but they've been friends way longer than they've been on the radio together. I mean, at VSiN. So,
What?
Interesting. Whoa. I don't know what that is. Keep
Sorry
scrolling.
about that. Sorry about that.
I didn't get to see that.
Me neither. I missed it. Crazy.
All right. That'll do it.
Interesting.
Alrighty.
Did he sleep with someone's wife? No, that's not it either.
Well, I'm sure he has, but
Sure. No, I didn't. I did not sign papers either. No, absolutely not. But what I'm saying is, if I knew all the details for sure and had all the information about it, then sure, I would talk about it. But I only know enough to.
In fact, you'd be obligated to talk about it. Maybe not talk about it. You'd actually write about it first, then you would talk about it because your first job is not us. This is not a job. But yeah, I'm sure the paper would be interested in the content.
Yeah.
And again, you know what? Whatever was just posted there, these are just tweets. It doesn't mean that someone actually has the story.
Of course.
So it could be nothing.
Absolutely could be nothing. And I think you probably wouldn't be suspended for a month if it was nothing, but we could be famous by followers.
All right.
Interesting.
Yes.
Sorry,
Dan. Got sidetracked there.
No, I don't know if you wanted to keep going with something, but
No.
I definitely want to talk about vaccinations in the NFL.
Well, you haven't been on this week, and we've had a bunch of conversations about vaccinations, and I kept bringing up once the Pelissaro notes came out that there was going to be a bunch of restrictions on the anti-vaxxers, the unvaccinated, and I was like, well, Panthers, Niners, and especially the Bills are going to have something to say about this. And Cole Beasley came out today and doubled and tripled and quadrupled down on his anti-vax statement.
But I'd like that it went from, hey, I'm just asking questions here to outright, because what did we say? When you're like, I just have questions, fuck you, you don't. You know your opinion on this. You know your stance on this. Stop it. Speak out strongly. And by the way, you could have at the time, because now he's all mad at the Players Association for agreeing to this. Did you go to them with your concerns then? Or did you just keep, I got questions. I just have questions. I have questions. State your case. And go to the Players Association and say why you don't think this is fair. But you don't. You wait, and then you speak out about it afterwards and get all mad. But, I mean, we knew the Bills were going to be an issue months ago. But I don't even know if shows in Buffalo were breaking it down as much as we were.
You were one of the first ones on it, talking about Jordan Poyer's wife stirring the pot behind the scenes, saying this is bullshit, and a bunch of the Bills players don't believe in the vaccine or not getting vaccinated.
Yeah, and then the column came out in the Buffalo News a couple weeks ago saying, this could be what brings down a promising contender because it's gotten so bad on the team in terms of, the split and guys saying like, hey, I get what you think about the vaccine, but you're going to fuck us as a team if you don't get it because we can't have full meetings. We can't all be in the same room. We can't have meals together. We can't travel together. So let's get this together. Let's get everybody there. John Gruden said yesterday, I don't believe they're anywhere close. But John Gruden said he hopes to be 100% with the players by the start of the year with the Raiders. The coaching staff with the Raiders is at 100%. So, it's absolutely going to be a competitive advantage for teams that, that have full vaccination or at least close to full vaccination. And Cole Beasley, saying he doesn't have a choice. You do. You have a choice. Don't get it and follow the guidelines.
Fight the fight. Fight the fight. That's the only way that freedom fighters win. You gotta pay the price. You're gonna suffer. I completely encourage him and many others, fight the fight. And hopefully your team can get through it. You can deal with some of the restrictions on the road, which include while your teammates get to go out and mingle with their family, you are basically locked down and can't leave the hotel. So, but anything worth fighting for, if you really believe this is about your freedom, then you need to fight, Cole Beasley.
Sure. And by the way, book your own flights because you can't get on the charter.
How happy Adam is, especially because it's the Bills.
It's amazing. I'm so happy. And because also their idiot quarterback isn't getting vaccinated either because he had a mask on at the Blue Jays game, which I took to mean that he can't be out in the public without one because he's not vaccinated.
So Dan, what do you think from a legal standpoint? Like because the NFL, again, the NFL is dancing around this. You're not required to get it, but hey, these are the sets of rules. When I don't know if you got to look, you want me to punch up the rules for the non-vaccinated players?
You can punch them up. What I would say is this.
I'm just curious if that whole list, if that infringes on anyone's rights.
Well, sorry, I stepped. Can you hear me? Yeah. Employers can make any sets of rules that they want, so long as you're not discriminating against a protected class. However, what you can't do is mess with a collectively bargained contract, right? Like you can't go against a contract. So in this case, you have a players association. So Cole Beasley, he's not a protected class unto himself, right? So if the players association,
wide receivers aren't a protected class,
right? Exactly. So if the players association and the league say, "Hey, these are the rules that we agreed to, and this is it. If you follow them or don't follow them," no, he can't say that as a person that doesn't want to follow these rules, I'm discriminated against. No, if it's a privilege to work. working in the NFL is not like some God-given right. You can choose to work somewhere else if you would like to. There are other alternatives, certainly. Employers generally have the right to do whatever they want, so long as it's not for an improper purpose against a protected class of persons. And it's not in violation of a contract between parties. So I would say, no, he's not being discriminated against if he's asked to follow rules that were collectively bargained between a union to which he's a member of. So no, he can, like you said, Steve, if he wants to lay down and be the sacrificial lamb to fight up for liberty. Freedom isn't free. That was the song we learned in grade school, right? Freedom isn't free. You got to fight, sacrifice for your liberty, right? He can be the sacrificial lamb if he wants, but he's not going to sue and go to the Supreme Court for his right to run around unvaccinated and do whatever he wants to do.
So in a workplace, this is legal. Vaccinated, no daily testing required. Not vaccinated, testing required every day. That's unfair. That's legal.
Say it again.
Yeah, it's
I said-
negotiated between the players and the
Yes.
teams.
All right.
You could basically negotiate. I mean, in a collective bargaining agreement, you can basically negotiate any rule you want, right? There's not really. I mean, I'm sure there's some that you can't negotiate that you have to kill somebody to play in a league. You can't break other rules.
The only thing that's interesting is, there's HIPAA. Yeah, the only wrinkle here is, employers are always entitled to that, right? You can always test people. You can drug test people as a condition of employment. So testing people for things is always acceptable for condition of employment. You don't want to be tested? Don't work here, right? I'm sure that's with your employer right now, Steve. Is there mandatory drug testing?
No, we have no drug testing, but I mean, in Vegas,
Ever?
people are people there are very familiar. Casino jobs, for the most part, you have to get tested for all of them. So
Yeah.
Well, I have,
most jobs.
now maybe they've eased it on the marijuana side, but
Right.
I
Well,
know.
to get hired, you had to pass a drug test, probably originally or whatever. But many jobs, I bet you there's a policy, Steve. They could say we could test you if we wanted to.
no doubt,
But
yeah.
whatever.
Well,
So,
and, just on my level, Dan, last year, like for any job, like if I want to cover UFC, I want to cover NFL, whatever I wanted to do, I had to submit to testing, and we had to do daily testing for COVID. We had to do monthly.
but that's different.
Testing.
You covering UFC is different because you don't work for the UFC.
Sure,
That's
what I'm
UFC.
saying.
Yeah.
Well, it's different, except that was my job. Like my job was to cover that. My job is to be there, and if I don't want to submit to testing, I can say, well, I don't want to submit to testing, so I can't do this, and then I have to decide on my job whether they still want to keep me on my job if I'm not willing to go through the requirements to do the job. Like those things are still there. Like I could have said I don't want to do this, and my job would then have to say, well, you do it or you're fired.
Right, but yeah, the UFC, it was UFC's requirement that you get tested, and yeah, I mean it's a roundabout way. Here, the actual employer themselves is saying you have to be tested,
Right.
but that's not new. Like it's been a requirement forever. Testing requirements are legal. They've been legal for a long, long time. This is nothing new, and here it's dangerous. You could infect other people with COVID, which has killed. What is it, up to 600,000 people in this country now? I don't know what the numbers are. It is dangerous. And so for him to say that it's unreasonable, it's unfair, well, it is what it is. It's been collectively bargained. There are rules. And basically these rules are, if you don't want to get the vaccine, you have to be a part of a safety protocol program. I don't know what he wants. I want to be unsafe.
No, he wants everything. Like you think that's
I'm going to do what I want.
It's ridiculous.
By the way, you did see the announcement by Sisolak today, right? The incentive program to get vaccinated. And we were trying to hash through it because the news was breaking on Cofield and Company. And as I was reading it, I'm like, I think we have a shot at this. And I'm reading it again. It says Sisolak said any resident who has been vaccinated will be eligible to receive part of the $5 million pot of prize money. We are all in.
Yes.
I'm finally getting out. Finally getting out. $1 million grand prize. I'm going to win it. How epic would that be?
Do we
Would you be out,
God.
Cofield? Would you be out?
Well, no, I wouldn't. We talked about winning whatever. What's the biggest lottery in the country when it gets up to like $1 billion? Powerball.
Yeah.
Right. And it was probably like 8 months ago. And someone's like, hey, what would you do if you won the Powerball? And without hesitation, I was like, I might do less on-air stuff and more sales. And everyone in the room is like, what the fuck are you talking about? You won $1 billion. You're not doing radio sales, you moron. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, maybe not. Yeah. I'm a lifer while they'll have me.
It's amazing.
I'm rooting for you, Adam. I hope you get a big prize.
I'm rooting for you too. It'd be nice.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Dan, you want to come down here, get vaccinated so you're eligible somehow?
In
Get
Vegas?
Get
Is that
double
what they're
vax?
doing?
Yeah. We have Vax Nevada days. So we've got the entire state. Any resident who's been vaccinated is eligible between, I think it's like July 8th and August 26th is when $1 million prize goes out. But there's going to be $1,000 prizes, college tuition credit worth $5,000 to $50,000. We are at, Brady, I know you sent me the numbers last night. I saw numbers today. It was 59.6 in Nevada have gotten a single vaccination, double vaxxed. I thought it was in the low 50s, but I know we're 33rd in the country out of 50 states, so we're lagging in Nevada.
You bastards!
I know.
I like Mark. Mark in Vegas says Dan would still be working 5 jobs. I'd go down to 4.
Yeah.
I'd quit one of them for sure.
I'm not taking that third shift of the week on the fan. I'm rich. The non-vaccinated folks, I think, are eligible for nothing. I don't think they're eligible.
Cole Beasley's going to be mad.
You know what? You know what sucks, guys? Just on a side rant. You know they have that house thing. You can enter like for the boys club. You have a 1 in 20 shot of winning. I bought like a bunch of those tickets, by the way. Like dropped, and they're expensive, like $100 a piece. I'm like, well, I'm gonna get something, right? I'm probably not gonna win the house. I got nothing. Dropped like a bunch of money. Got nothing. Drawing was last month. I didn't get like a freaking, a speaker. Nothing.
Where was this at?
Well, you guys have those there, don't you? Like they give away a house. It's like to benefit the boys clubs or whatever the charity is. But they auction off like a $1 million or $2 million house. And they give away like a Tesla and they give away 10 grand a week. It's
Really?
But the raffle tickets, but they're like one ticket's like $100. But if you buy X amount, it's this and this and that. But your odds increase if you buy like a bundle or whatever. And I'm like, I'm doing all right. I'll buy a little this and I'll buy all of that. And, so I bought like a nice little package. Yes, I feel like I got taken too, Brady. I'm like, well, I'm not expecting to win the house, but, I'm going to win something. I'm not going to get goose egged. And I got goose egged. I felt very, very violated by this charity raffle.
Dan, why are you in Wichita? We didn't even ask you.
Oh, well, to try out the delicacies of. Well, that's actually that doesn't look good because that's actually not a margarita. It's this is lemonade, by the way. Spangles is a burger joint across the street from the fine establishment at. It's a funeral, but it's COVID.
Oh,
She died. She died pre-COVID. She's old. It's not that big a deal. It was pre-COVID. It got rescheduled. So we're here to finish this process or whatever. It's not, trust me, it's not a big deal.
Are you like the business center of a Comfort Inn?
Well, this is where the governor stays, as a matter of fact. It's the Governor's Inn, Best Western.
Oh, nice.
So it must be where the governor stays. They wouldn't call it the Governor's Inn, would they?
Probably not. We know a lot of people from Wichita, and they rave about Spangles, by the way. So
Yeah, I wasn't a fan actually. It was
okay.
not. The ice cream looked like it might actually be decent, but the burger I got was not good.
We need your advice. I talked about you on the air today as a pit master, one of our resident pit masters on Cofield and Company. A dude in Minnesota who does sports radio tweeted out a picture of his barbecue meal in a small town, Jordan, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Said, excited for this. Lindsay's barbecue in Jordan has a nice feel to it. Can't wait to taste. Here we go. By the way, William Sloan said Spangles sucks.
Yeah, it was not good. It looked good. I mean, whoa. Wow. Yeah, that's not good.
Problems?
That's not
Yep. That's what William, that's what I thought too. I made the reference to the sous vide steak. Adam, remember the sous vide steak that I showed you guys a video of someone cooking a steak in a dishwasher?
Oh yeah.
That's what this looks like. Like, I don't know how there's no color.
Ooh.
There's no color, and like, what is? I mean, it's pork.
Yep.
But it's not. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be ribs, but it's like there's no bones. It's got like a very pale color. There's no fat. There's no seasoning. There's no rub on it. The mac and cheese looks bad.
Here we go.
Yeah, air fry.
No. The air fryer would put some sort of crust on it a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it has the flu. You know, like it got sick or something.
Oh no.
Yeah. It looks like well, it's not. Yeah.
This is not
good. Not good.
A chopped up baseball glove.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that like a pork chop? I mean, what is that supposed to be?
You know what I got? The funny thing is, we were talking about it on the air. I got so sidetracked by the tepid-looking pork ribs that I ignored what I think is mac and cheese, and that's when the Brady joke about the bagged cheese, which we had a whole controversy on Cofield and Company a few weeks ago. Yeah, the mac and cheese don't look good either.
Yeah, no, that doesn't look good. Now you guys ought to talk. Remember the beef ribs on my last night in Vegas?
Oh God. Yep. I mean, those beef ribs looks better. Those beef ribs look better than this, but not much better.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's bad stuff right there. That's not.
Well said. Well,
are those Air Jordans on a plate? It's Jordan. It's.
I was thinking, is that Jordan, Utah?
Yeah.
It's Jordan, Minnesota.
Oh. I mean, they look like Air Jordans. Leather. They do look like shoe leather. So maybe that's what that is.
Yeah. Actually, sorry to interrupt this. To KC Rally Mathis, I would love you to send me the information in email on the person you know that died from the shot. That's the kind of thing we'd like to follow up on. So I'd like to do a story about that. So just let me know. It's ahill@reviewjournal.com.
Uh-oh. Giving out his email.
I'd love to write that story.
Before we get out of here, I have a tool question to ask of you guys, but I have a feeling both of you will have no idea. Dan might.
I have no
well, it's not really a tool. It's I guess it would be a more elaborate power tool. I was thinking, and this is probably not good as like serious drought reports are coming out for Nevada and Lake Mead's like empty. I was thinking of buying a power washer.
Oh, I have one. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
What'd you pay?
Well, you're gonna get a gas powered one. That would be my recommendation. Don't get the electric.
Why?
Because you get the power.
Huh?
Yeah, no, the gas powered one is that you can get the. I have an electric one. Just go all in and get, because you can get the higher. The only bad thing about the gas powered one is if you want to carry it around, like drive it around, like take it somewhere, If it spills, then you got the gas in your car.
I'm not driving it anywhere. And all I need it for is I got a patio. I got like cool decking in the back. I just want to be able to clean that off. And then every once in a while, I'll be able to freaking clean some chairs and maybe, clean the house a little bit. So my question was like, how do I just go super basic? Is that fine? Or do I have to spend, $200 plus? There was a bunch that were like $140 to $175.
So I have mine, to be honest with you. It does a fine job. Because I'm trying to think. It's like,
look at Adam. Adam is just deer in the headlights.
I'm reading comments. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
But you're right. I have no idea.
I think it's like 1,200 PSI, 1,400, 1,600, and then you keep going up. I have like one of the lower electric ones, and I honestly think it does fine. Yeah. But as a man, you feel like you're missing out, man.
But I'm barely in that category. It's just
I know, because I use it to clean my smoker.
I'm going to use it. I'm going to clean some stuff, and then after that, I'm probably just going to like screw with my cat. Just like squirt water at it. It's not that serious.
So here's the honest side by side, because I use it to clean grills, and I've cleaned grills with mine, and then I've borrowed gas powered ones the same day, and gotten maybe like a little bit more off the very same grill. So there's negligible difference, but from a psychological, it's like Tim the Toolman Taylor, like. You just always feel like you're missing out if you don't get the big gun, but it's preference. But to be honest with you,
Razorback Scoop's giving us some good information, so I kind of trust him.
Well, he's telling you the truth,
right? He's saying the basic model is fine.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay, good. What is this? Oh. Truthsome Duluth is saying
Binford.
That's
in the
generator.
He's messing with you. Binford.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I didn't get it.
He's yanking your chain. Adam, do you know what a power washer is?
Do you know what it is?
That's what the guy uses for his RV next door.
It's true. I've figured it out from context here. Like it's something you just use to wash things down.
Now, I was thinking about this, though, like the Spangles is a funny place because they do have mixed drinks at this hamburger joint. Like, you have ice cream. Yeah, you have ice cream. They have like breakfast. You can get like breakfast bowls, omelets, like a Wham-burglar, like from that. What was the movie? Falling Down with Harrison Ford. He's like, I'll have a Whamlet. And he's like, sure, we stopped serving breakfast at 9:30. But you can have like margaritas and cocktails and a blizzard, like they have all sorts of stuff at this place.
Falling Down is Michael Douglas, right?
Oh yeah, Michael Douglas. What did I say?
Harrison Ford.
Or Harrison Ford. They're the same guy.
Okay, that's fair.
Whatever, same guy. Whatever. Same person. Michael Douglas.
I keep saying one last story. I thought this was interesting. You guys saw that Las Vegas now cracking down on pet owners. You can't leave your pet outside on a leash for more than 10 hours. So this could be interesting.
Hours.
I know. In this heat.
It should be 10 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Would you call on a neighbor who did this?
I would. Are you talking about 100-degree heat?
It says you can't. Let's see. You can't tether a dog for longer than 10 hours during a 24-hour period. If the National Weather Service issues a heat advisory. So 105 degrees or higher, the dog is fine leaving it out there for 10 hours, tied up. It's not bad.
What does the leash have to do with anything?
They can't go find shade.
Yeah.
Like in your yard? Like why? I mean, a dog should not be outside in 100+ degree heat, really, at all.
Agreed.
For any length of time.
My cat was outside. My cat was outside the house today, probably for 8 hours.
My dogs won't go outside to pee right now. And I mean, like right now at 10:15
Now-
when it's still 95 degrees.
Yeah. Now that said, Dan, we have a garage, and there's an opening in the garage so the cat can go in there. So,
Right.
but we don't make the cat go out for 8 hours. The cat goes out, and then if we happen to leave, it's like, all right, dude, we'll be back later. But you didn't get in time, so and whatever. He goes and finds shade.
Yeah, no, I mean it's just brutal. I mean I don't know, man. Maybe they're acclimated
for a
to it,
dog. 10 hours on a leash.
Yeah.
Not being able to move is ridiculous. 10 hours is way too much. And I was saying earlier, should you call on a neighbor who does that? Yeah, you should call on him.
Yeah, you should.
So you don't want the dog if you're going to put it outside in that kind of heat. You're being a dickhead.
Yeah, and a leash, by the way, it takes away their flight reflexes, so it also messes with them mentally. An animal has a fight or flee response, and it takes away their flee instinct, so it makes them naturally more aggressive because they think they have to fight if they get in a position of danger.
Oh, wow.
So it's not good.
I just took this right as we speak right now to just show you that the dog is sleeping under the fan right next to me. Right now. It's 10 o'clock at night. The dog is underneath the fan.
Will they go out to relieve themselves?
Like during the day, they'll walk up to the doggy door, stick their head out, and be like, "Nah, bro, let's come back in."
I'll hold it.
So ridiculous. All right,
if it's raining, forget it.
we appreciate everyone watching tonight. And keep our guy in your hearts. A little prayer. Let's get this suspension over with quickly.
Wait, didn't Dan want to address the question about the truck or whatever?
Oh, what was it?
Oh, he was kidding. Mark was kidding because he knew.
Oh, okay, sorry.
He knew. Never mind.
Gotcha. Justin is on vacation, I think, again. Really living the life.
Is he in Montreal? Is he going to Montreal or what?
Nah, I don't think so. Too much of a quarantine. You gotta Adam, did you beg the paper to go up there for 2 weeks?
Well, I talked to them about like I would go before the series started. And I could just be
I knew you would try. I knew you would try.
Yeah, but they said it's not like it was mini camp here too, so I couldn't miss Raiders.
All that important stuff.
Too valuable to the staff. Well, we finally got Yannick Ngakoue, and by the way, last of the Zooms, our last Zoom. So that was kind of a historic moment.
Is it?
Well, by the way, when you talked about the vaccination stuff earlier, I can't wait. Can't wait to find out which media people are banned from the facility and banned from the press box. This is
what does that mean? What does that mean? What's going on?
Part of the new protocols. Unvaccinated media out, no practice, no facility, no games, no press box, nothing.
Wow. There's no one who's going to be unvaccinated and miss Raider access. No one.
We'll see.
Really?
I've got some guesses. We did when these protocols came out yesterday at the Raiders facility, some of the Raiders folks and us were doing a list of who's not going to be able to come in.
Oh my God.
I
can't believe there's anyone. I figured, well, I mean, you guys are all professionals. I figure there's so many people who love being around the National Football League that they would do anything to do so they would get vaccinated.
Well, they might now, but I'm also like, I guess you'd be able to maybe if you schedule like today. No, I don't think you would be able to get there unless you go Johnson & Johnson maybe. But if you weren't now and you find out today that you can't go to training camp, I don't think you have time to get fully vaccinated.
When's training camp? I thought it was like 40 days away.
No, it's it's like 40. But if you go one shot, 3 weeks later, next shot, 2 weeks to get fully vaccinated, I guess it's about right. But you'd have to get an appointment like tomorrow. I guess you could. But yeah, we were definitely making some guesses on who's the most likely that will not be able to get in there. Also, if you're watching UFC on Saturday, people, they just sent out a new thing. If you bring your vaccination card, you don't have to wear a mask cage side. So you'll be able to see which media.
You love this so much.
There's nothing I like better than being asked to present the vaccination card.
Yeah. So you must be all fired up that that baseball announced yesterday. that unvaccinated no mask. I'm sorry, unvaccinated mask, vaccinated no mask. So now you know.
It's great. Love it. I love every minute of it. I've got I have it all at all times. I've got it with me.
Look at him.
Laminated, ready to go. Whoever wants to see it. Because I think everywhere should be doing this.
Yeah.
You come in the door, every restaurant. Show it. I mean, it puts a lot of burden on them. So I don't like that part of it.
Wow. We just saw, believe me, the problem is we just saw a cashier in, where was it, Texas or something? Some guy got all pissed off about a mask and came back in and shot her dead.
Yeah.
So
and
it's all fun until some asshole goes crazy.
And that's what I'm saying, what I don't like. And I didn't like on the plane, you still have to do it. And there was these two people behind me that were just, every time the stewardess or flight attendants would get on and make an announcement, or they'd walk through the cabin and tell people, remind people, and they would just attack them. And I was like, what are we doing?
Yep.
What are we doing? Do you think that this is what they want to do? To just remind you all day? It's stupid. I actually have a friend, and him too, and you'll be able to know this from context probably, who's pretty anti-mask, pretty, anti-vax even. But one of his jobs when he was out on the floor of his job was to tell anybody he saw without a mask to put one on. And he'd have to go please put your mask on, please put your mask on. And he was against it. And they'd fight him oh, mask, you're making us wear a mask. Listen, he's I don't want you to have to wear a mask either. It's my job to do it. It's hilarious to people. But yeah, I wish every restaurant you went in, you could be all right, here, if you're vaccinated, go over here. If you're unvaccinated, you can sit out back somewhere, out by the dumpster. Let's go. That's where you sit.
We got one comment against privacy rights, and then William Sloan brings up Australia. You have to scan a QR code when you enter a restaurant. Is that true?
Oh, love it.
Are you moving?
Maybe. Well, Australia was my favorite. In Melbourne, some of the rules they had during, when people say we're locked down here, there was never a lockdown in the US. That never happened. In Australia, if you were more than 1 mile from your house, you could be arrested. That is awesome.
That is awesome.
It's amazing.
By the way, look at how it took 80 minutes for Adam. Now Adam's completely unplugged, fired up.
I'm so excited. All these are so great. And again, Casey Rally Mathis, your privacy rights thing, fine. I'm waiting on that email. I don't know if you sent it or not yet. But you said you do know somebody that died from the vaccine, so I do want that information so we can follow up on it and write a story on it. It's important.
When we go off, Adam, I'll tell you the quick story about the power I have.
Ooh.
When we go off.
Ooh.
All right, we're out. That's it. That's what I'm sorry. We got to go. We'll see you tomorrow night. DC and the Sunshine Man. Usual suspects. Lots of stories about Old Vegas. And probably Dave yelling at me. So